The concept of the aircraft carrier emerged early in the 20th century. By transforming existing ships into floating airbases, both the US and China would eventually capitalize on this revolutionary design to project power across the globe. The first aircraft carrier in the United States Navy, the USS Langley CV-1, was converted from a Navy collier and commissioned in 1922. China, however, did not inaugurate its aircraft carrier capabilities until much later. Following World War II, the utility of aircraft carriers was firmly established. The United States invested heavily in improving its carrier fleet, introducing post-war behemoths like the Forrestal class. Meanwhile, China began its quest for a modern navy towards the end of the 20th century, predominantly procuring old Soviet vessels before the advent of its indigenous builds. The Nimitz class, starting with USS Nimitz CV-68, commissioned in 1975, revolutionized the American fleet with its nuclear-powered capabilities, allowing it to operate for over 20 years without refueling. China's aircraft carrier journey began with the retrofitting of the Varyag, a half-finished Soviet carrier purchased from Ukraine. Recommissioned as the Liaoning in 2012, it marked China's initial foray into powerful, modern naval aviation. Representing the cutting edge of American naval aviation, the Gerald R. Ford-class carriers like the USS Gerald R. Ford CV-78, commissioned in 2017, boast advanced technology, including the electromagnetic aircraft launch system EMLS, which improves flight operations efficiency. In 2019, China moved a step closer to matching global military tech with its first domestically built aircraft carrier, Shandong Taipo 01A. This vessel demonstrated China's growing expertise and commitment to developing a powerful carrier fleet. The U.S. emphasizes global reach and sustained operations, a characteristic of its supercarrier strategy. China's approach, while still emphasizing power projection, remains more regionally focused, aimed primarily at securing its regional interests and asserting dominance in the South China Sea. American carriers leverage decades of experience, fielding advanced technologies like EMLS and sophisticated missile defense systems. China, while rapidly closing the gap, still lags in some areas, such as the development and operational integration of these advanced technologies. Nimitz-class carriers host around 5,000 personnel, while China's Liaoning accommodates about 2,000. The size difference directly impacts operational range, number of aircraft that can be carried, and also the onboard amenities available to crew members. Crew members on us carriers have access to a range of leisure activities. Modern American carriers provide gyms, internet cafes, libraries, and even general stores, creating a semblance of normalcy, despite being halfway across the world. While relatively newer to the game, Chinese aircraft carriers like the Liaoning are also equipped with recreational facilities, including gyms and lounges. However, Available onboard leisure options may still fall short of their American counterparts, attributable to the rapid pace of China's Navy expansion. The U.S. operates its carriers around the world, assigning each to specific regions with rotating deployments. Chinese deployments have been more regionally confined, primarily focused on the East and South China Seas, with occasional further sweeps into the Indian Ocean. American naval aviators undergo extensive training regimens, evolving over decades, something demonstrated by their seamless execution during operations. The Chinese Navy is catching up swiftly, but lacks the breadth of real-world experience that the U.S. holds in large-scale carrier operations. The U.S. plans to maintain and expand its fleet of carriers with continued funding for the Gerald R. Ford class. The increased sortie rates and reduced crew requirements outline a forward-looking perspective on efficient naval power projection. With plans for at least 4 aircraft carriers, including advanced models like the Type 002, China's continued investments signify a formidable challenge to existing maritime balances. The growing emphasis on indigenous technology also underlines their long-term strategic ambitions. Both nations view aircraft carriers as paramount to maritime dominance. The U.S. leans on its carriers for sustained global influence, while China's burgeoning fleet affirms its rising stature as a regional and eventually global maritime power. The hefty investments into building and maintaining aircraft carriers reflect broader economic priorities. For the U.S., it signifies commitment to securing international trade routes and alliances. For China, it carries an undercurrent of asserting national territorial claims and technological ascendancy. While historical tensions persist, occasional joint exercises offer glimpses of collaborative potential. Instances like RIMPAC help foster interoperability between navies, crucial for future crisis mitigation. In evolving strategic landscapes, innovation within either navy often leads to rapid adaptations and responses. Whether it's through AI enhancements or autonomous capabilities, the next decades will continue shaping carrier designs and capabilities for theaters of the 21st century. Life on and off-duty aboard American carriers reflect diverse crews and often inclusive social fabrics, while Chinese carriers also appear disciplined, reflecting collectivist cultural values. The relative newness of many recruits impacts organizational culture. Americans adhere to a cycle of rigorous training, but benefit from well-structured rotation systems that ensure rest and recuperation. Chinese methodologies may mirror these protocols, but the accelerated operational tempo and developmental pace introduce variances. Off-boundary regulations aside, American sailors arguably enjoy a broader spectrum of downtime activities with comprehensive well-being programs. Chinese sailors, still relatively new to extensive sea deployments, are gradually adapting to similar well-being best practices. As part of knowledge sharing, retired sailors and onboard advisors across either fleet contribute to constant strategy renewals, ensuring knowledge bridges facilitate newbies' exposure to best practices, including leisure and morale maintenance. Systems aboard as carriers integrate seamlessly between combat operations and mundane daily routines. Recreational technological assistances like VR arcades exemplify their holistic Navy approach for keeping crew morale high. China ensures that their carrier facilities keep pace using innovation-driven initiatives, recently securing AI ops for streamlined sailing procedures. Contributing to leisure, tailored gaming rooms ensure maintained competitive spirits.